The IGCSE Anthology has many poems, but my favorite is Half-Caste by Agard, because it is a criticism of society, but in a unique form which is embraced by the poet. It is criticizing yet relatable, and despite the mix of both Caribbean dialect and standard English, it feels so familiar. The poem is written in free verse with no fixed rhythm or rhyme, so it mimics natural speech, which also complements his questioning and challenging tone. Half-Caste, when taken at face value, seems odd, not grammatically correct or unconventional. However, as one delves deeper into the meaning and context of the poem, the reader realizes that the issues that Agard addresses are so troubling and distressing, but the way Agard combats the issues is even more inspiring. So this is John Agard. Born in Guyana in 1949, he is of mixed race. His mother is Portuguese, but born in Guyana, and his father is black. He moved to England in 1977. He now tours all over the UK, promoting Caribbean culture and performing his poetry. In fact, he even came to the UAE and performed his poem, Half-Caste. Though Agard criticizes society and stereotypes, context can help one further understand the poet's standpoint and background. Agard uses Caribbean dialect in order to embrace his unique mixed heritage, against the idea of if you can't beat them, join them. He is proud of his heritage and wants to let everyone know that. Now, there are many expressions used for people of mixed race. You have half-breed, half-blood, half-caste. All these expressions have the fractional word of half, symbolizing a half of someone, and not being whole, being impure. Agard chooses the most derogatory phrase of all of them, which is half-caste. He chooses this phrase in order to demonstrate the level of discrimination and humiliation shown by society towards him. The poem starts with a triplet introducing Agard's story. Excuse me, standing on one leg, I'm half-caste. This triplet mentions standing on one leg and being half, and this sets the tone for the poem. After the triplet, there seems to be a lack of stanzas. It flows like how one would speak. The repetition of explain yourself and the mention of Picasso and Tchaikovsky addresses his haters via masterful, renowned artists and composers, creating a mocking tone. The poem ends with a powerful couplet, challenging and causing his readers to rethink their impressions of mixed-race people. Agard, despite his tongue-in-cheek delivery of his argument, has a powerful message. You mean when Picasso mixed red and green, it's a half-caste canvas? Here, Agard mentions Picasso because he is an undeniably well-known and renowned artist. The reader is familiar with the famous figure, but right after Picasso is mentioned, the mocking phrase, half-caste canvas, comes in. Agard makes it sound like mixing red and green is sinful and half-caste, when in fact it is not. It is just purely artwork. And when moon begin to glow, I half-caste human being, cast half a shadow. Agard discusses the notion of being incomplete in half. He mocks this notion by saying that he casts half a shadow because he is a half-caste human being. The phrase human being is juxtaposed with the phrases half-caste and half a shadow. Agard contrasts the idea of being whole and the idea of being merely half. He is a human being like everyone else, but he casts only half a shadow. And I will tell you the other half of my story. These powerful lines mark the end of Agard's story after the tempo increase. It is worth noting that Agard juxtaposes half with the preceding lines mentioning being whole, with the whole of your eye, and the whole of your ear, and the whole of your mind. Agard mentions other half of my story, but this isn't a portrayal of him succumbing to the notion of being half. In fact, he is telling his readers to listen with their minds open, or with the whole of your mind, and then he will tell them the other half of the story.